Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Can I get a hell yeah? Well, gang, it happened last night. The State of the Union. Wasn't sure it was ever going to happen. It's weird how it keeps getting later and later in the year. It's March. It was March 7th. I mean, the State of the Union usually comes sometime in like January, and for whatever reason, maybe it's just because Joe can't function normally, and he has to get extra time. And let's put it this way. Anyway, obviously the Democrats give him extra credit for whatever he does, because he needs all the extra credit points he can. So he wrote a speech basically that what's weird. Okay, wait. Let me go back, because I know maybe some of you watched it, maybe some of you didn't. But the speech he gave was almost identical to the one last year. Or the last time he did it. Was it last year that he did a State? Yeah, it was almost the same speech, but just angrier and with more clouds to shout at. I don't know. And he said he talked about Trump a lot, which is weird because Trump's not the president, or that's not, it really didn't have anything to do with anything other than he's running against him. But it was kind of a campaign speech with lots of buzzwords that the Democrats could jump up and clap like clapping seals and shit. And it was wild. Anyway, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Happy March 8th for those who revel in March 8th. It is International Women's Day. I'll talk about that in a second. But like I always do, let's get this show started, okay? And do that by saying hello to the people who are here, because right now it's still manageable. I would love for this to be unmanageable someday. I would love to have 200 people, 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. I'd love to have more people here, but I got y'all, and y'all are my favorite people, because you've been hanging with me for however long you've been hanging with me. Some of you a whole 5 years, and I appreciate that. So I say hi to the people who are here and to the new people who are here too. So anyway, first in the chat over at Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diablo, of course, gets the bell for being here first. And yes, that's not just a revelation music, but that is 80s theme music too. So you'll hear it more often. At least you'll hear it at least daily. Also, good morning, Asmati, one of our new people here, and I appreciate you, and I just want to give you a little clap because you are one of the new folks, and I appreciate you coming back. So there you go. And that's it on Rumble. Why is there only 2 people on Rumble? Oh no, there's not 8, something like that, 7 or 8. If you're watching on Rumble, just put a hi in the chat. Even if you're gonna actually watch the show somewhere else, I appreciate those of you who open a Rumble window, just to help me out. I appreciate that, because I know some of you just do that so that I get better numbers, and that's greatly appreciated. So, and if you're not following me on Rumble, you probably should, just in case I get yeeted from YouTube, because you never know when they're going to make a new rule and then go back to like episode 700 and say, oh, you can't do that, and kick me off, because they've done that before. And then they've appealed it. I'm like, you realize that was 3.5 years ago, right? But whatever. They retroactively F with you. All right. So anyway, let's say hi to the people on YouTube too. Speaking of which, Avocados Diablo beats everybody on YouTube too. So he's got 2 windows open, helping me out, just like a brother should. And you're an honorary brother if you're not a brother, or you could be my brother. Who knows? I have no idea. Also, good morning to Kara Soldier. Welcome, sir. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Jesse Leon, welcome. Good morning, Zed the Snarky. Lord Stanhope, I said already because I just said Lord Stanhope. Tyler F's in the house. Welcome. Another guy, V. Hello. And my favorite Canadian Jaeger pony is here. Attack Alpacas in the house. Patio Furniture. GDSOB. Let's see. And I think that's... Oh, Maddie's in the house. What the hell? Maddie's in the house. There we go. That worked a little better. Good morning, Renee Mayette. Up bright and early. Nice to see you. And there you go. So I think that's everybody that's here so far. 18 people, 9 likes. Hit the like button. The show is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Hit the damn like button, will you? What's word? Humor me, please. Humor me. And then also to sponsor the show, you can share the stream, which I'm sure some people have done. I did that myself. I'm going to make sure I did it myself. Share the stream. In fact, here I'll drop the link to the tweet if you want to. If you're on X, I still call them tweets, but if you're on X, you can repost or retweet that post. Oh, thank you, Zed the Starkey, for dropping in on Rumble, and Green Badger Outdoors too. Nice to see you. If you're on X, just all you got to do is hit the repeat thing or repost thing. Click, boom, damn. Then all your folks know it too. Or just share the stream. There's the arrow below, or a way to do that under the screen here, wherever you're on Rumble or YouTube. Share the stream. It helps. Every little bit helps. I know some of you came here because someone else told you about the show, and then you showed up, and that was great. And now you're here, and they're here, and we're all queer and glad to be here. Whatever. Wait, what did he just say? What? I don't know what that meant. Good morning, Balin Bobby. Good morning, Simon Wolfwood. What's up? Okay. And then just a couple quick thank yous. Let me get my notifications out because some of you have already shared the show. Of course, Somnambule Nation has done it. Thank you, my friend. And I'm reposting Somnambule Nations. And let's see. Thank you for retweeting Zed the Snarky, Tyler F., another guy V, and Somnambule Nation. So there you go. Share. Sharing is caring. And whether it's you care about me or you care about the people that you love, like the people who follow you, then one of the two will be happy, right? Good morning, another Canadian friend, Unacceptable Views. Welcome. All right. And I hope, by the way, if you played the drinking game last night, I don't know if you'd have got totally schnockered. Because I can't even remember what the criteria we were going to use. Mumbling was one, and he did stumble over his words a little bit, not too badly, but look, the Adderall was kicking last night. He did pretty good. I think he might have, when the TV panned away, I think he might have done a little bump in the middle of the speech. I don't know, because he stayed rather animated throughout the speech, although he did sound like, Grandpa Simpson screaming at the clouds, but whatever. He stayed awake for the whole speech, and it lasted more than 40 minutes, which I was shocked. Wait a minute. Best part of the night last night was, 80 says, the best part of the night last night was even the ABC host said Biden is doing all right so far, like even they were waiting for the fuck-ups. Yeah, I'm sure they were. If anyone was playing the drinking game for the State of the Union last night, they're probably in the hospital getting their stomachs pumped right now. Yeah, they might have. He slurred a lot. I know he slurred a lot, but that's, Democrats think it's a triumph that he got through the speech. They were, oh my gosh, they were giddy. I don't understand it. I mean, I think it's like, they had a meeting and said, okay, no matter what he says, no matter what he does, we're going to agree and we're going to say this was the greatest speech ever. In fact, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I got to show you. I have one tweet that I have to show you. I think I bookmarked it. Please tell me I bookmarked this one. Yes, I did. Okay. This is brilliant. This is effing brilliant. Joe Scarborough. Morning Joe, you know Joe Scarborough. Remember we saw the clip yesterday I'm talking about, he was saying that Biden is at his sharpest he's ever been and whatever. This is the best Biden ever, which, I mean, it's a pretty low bar, but you know what I mean? Okay, so last night, this is 11 hours ago, so this is after the speech, Joe Scarborough had the balls to type this onto Twitter. Did I say Twitter?
You know the thing.
Twitter. Joe Scarborough said this. Biden's best speech underestimated again.
Your life makes me sad.
You got to be kidding me, Joe Scarborough. That was his best speech? That was his best speech? I actually did a quote tweet on this. I said, if that's true, that's pretty sad. Sad if true. Sad if true. If that was his best speech. It took 15 minutes to get to the podium. He had to stop and shake every hand or hug them to keep him from falling over. Yeah, it did take him a long time. Well, it took him a long time to get to the Capitol building, but that's because there were protesters blocking the way. In fact, here, I'll just pull this article up because I was going to do this later, but anti-Israel protesters blocked Biden's motorcade before the State of the Union. Now, I got a question about this because these protesters were blocking a constitutionally, I don't know if mandated is the word, a constitutional function of the President of the United States to give the State of the Union. So, based on, I suppose recent history, would them not blocking the President of the United States to go do the State of the Union be an insurrection? I kind of think it kind of does. That should be considered an insurrection. Did I say I had a GDSOB? I think I did. Hi, what's up, my brother? Is that not an insurrection? Oh, it's Friday. It's Q&A day too. Are we gonna do Q&A today? Okay, let's do this. Yes, of course we're gonna do Q&A. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Q&A up. And today is, well, I guess we'll just, it's still gonna be AMA. Friday Q&A. AMA. If you know what that means. There we go. You can put your questions over there. Try to limit yourself to 17 questions or less, though. Or, I don't know. Anyway, the Q&A's section's up if you want to drop that up there. Also, I highly encourage you to super chat today. I don't want to go into details, but it would be gratefully helpful if you're able to. Great. If you can't, that's cool too. But it's a long story. Anyway, so anti-Israel protesters blocked Biden motorcade. The cadre of anti-Israel protesters joined together to block President Joe Biden's motorcade while on the way to the State of the Union address Thursday night. Look at this. That's thousands of protesters are blocking Biden's motorcade route to the Capitol for a State of the Union. Seems like it's getting spicy already. Now, I don't know. I'm curious. How many of these people did they arrest? How many people did they arrest? They blocked the presidential motorcade. Are you kidding me? So they're calling him Genocide Joe. Where are the Capitol Police? Where are the people? Where's the U.S. Attorney's Office? Where's the U.S. Attorney's Office arresting people and charging them with parading and blocking the function of Congress and all that other shit that the bullshit charges they brought up against a lot of the January 6th people? Not the ones who did violence, just the ones who were there. Because a lot of, it's funny, I got into an argument with somebody the other day talking about, oh yeah, it was an insurrection. I'm like, really? Who were the actual insurrection? Who were the ones actually trying to take over the government? Who were the ones fighting the United States government with weapons? Because they keep calling it armed insurrection. It's like, okay, who had weapons? What kind of weapons did they have? How many people were killed? I mean, it sounds like, because Joe Biden last night was comparing it to the freaking Civil War. Let's see. It's just like the Civil War, except there weren't 500,000 dead on the battlefields. In fact, there weren't any dead on there were a couple people died, but one was, shot by the Capitol Police, and the other ones had heart attacks. No one on the side of the so-called, I don't know, the good guys, as they would say it, died on that day. Insurrection, my ass. Okay. So anyway, so that was kind of wild. Let's get into trending topics though, because I'm really off track of what I normally do here. Anyone else show up that I haven't seen yet? Anyone else new here? I think I got everybody. Let's see. All right. We got 20 people, 15 likes. That's a good start. 20 people there. And we got 15 over on Rumble. If you're on Rumble and you haven't said hi on Rumble yet, say hi on Rumble. I'd appreciate it. I'd like to know who's here. All right. Let's get into the so anyway, Joe Scarborough. This is hilarious. I mean, the Biden's best speech. All right, let's get into a few trending topics like we do on the daily. Today is, wait, what the hell's there? Hang on a second. I messed something up here. This should not be, I moved that because I have Joe Scarborough. Oh, I see. I opened that. Why is this here? This is not right. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, let me fix this real quick. Sorry, guys. I apologize. This is I made a mistake. Today, we always have special days. Hello, Diesel Dick. How you doing? Chris C. Bishop, what's up? Nice to see you over there on Rumble. Welcome. All right. I should probably pin the super chat thing, or at least put the super chat thing in the chat and Rumble too here, if you, because I prefer that to Rumble rants just because it's easier for me to manage. But I mean, I don't care if you're throwing money at me and you want to do it Rumble rants, or you want to do it on YouTube super chats, I'll still take it. Venmo, Cash App, all that stuff. But anyway, okay, where was it? Oh, the special day. Today's special day. The special day today is International Women's Day. Yay! All right, it's International Women's Day. We celebrate women today. Melania Trump. Is this the real Melania Trump? Is this really her? Why is her name in all caps on X, the app formerly known as Twitter? She says, on International Women's Day, we celebrate extraordinary women and girls who defy expectations, shatter barriers, uphold distinction, and leave a lasting impact. I applaud those who exhibit courage, stand firm in their beliefs, strive for excellence. Let us remember that true greatness lies in embracing our unique selves and staying true to our values. Wow, that's a nice message. Now, just a little experiment here, because whenever Melania Trump tweets something, usually some bitch-ass MFers try to chew her a new one. Okay, so let's see. Oh, now there's a good one. That's a lovely picture. Someone says, "Thank you, First Lady Melania. We are anxiously awaiting your return to the White House." That's very nice. Oh, here's one nice one too. Happy International Women's Day. Love you, Melania. So some people are being nice. Best First Lady ever. Awesome. Melania, you are such an inspiring role model for women and girls. You are truly loved by many who await your return. I was expecting a bunch of mean ass tweets about her. Look at all these nice people saying nice shit about her. I love it. Okay. Because there were some people who were just gonna, normally you'd expect people just to take a dump all over her. So it's taken me a long time to do this, to find anyone saying something mean. Okay, well, that's very good. Also, but I was also expecting I was assuming somewhere on the International Women's Day, and I'm not even sure what the hell International Women's Day really means. I mean, I'm sure that we ought to worry concerned about issues that are unique to women. I'm surprised that that the number one spokesman for International Women's Day isn't Leah Thomas or something like that, you know? Because I was going to scroll on International Women's Day as far as I could to see how long it would take before someone who is not a woman to be celebrated for International Women's Day. Now, oh my gosh, well, I'm not going to show that. The ruling government of the Gaza Strip and their supporters commemorate International Women's Day. Oh no. Wait, what's this one? Remember the women in Palestine, Sudan, Congo, and Haiti. Look, wherever you remember me, but I don't like that one. I'm going to just try to scroll past some of these. I was waiting for the one that had, well, here, I don't want to scroll too fast because you know what happens when you scroll too fast on any topic on Twitter, especially when it's related to women. I was expecting to see all kinds of, just say stuff that I really didn't want to see. Oh, here's a good one. Who's your favorite favorite female superhero? There we go. There's Wonder Woman. There's Linda Carter as Wonder Woman from the 80s. That's awesome. But I had to scroll quite a bit under 3 different International Women's Day topics to find one tweet that was something about trans women are women, which if you say trans women are women, you're trying too hard because basically you're acknowledging that most people don't think trans women are actually women the way most people define them. And so you're just trying to gaslight us, and actually you're just gaslighting yourself. But if you're saying that, that means you're acknowledging too that they're not the same. Anyway, it's International Women's Day. Apparently there's nothing very interesting about International Women's Day other than people are saying Happy International Women's Day. So there you go. Oh, 19 women held hostage by Hamas. Okay. I'm going off the screen. I was trying to find the one tweet, but it's not there. Anyway, oh, here's one. Oh, wait. I just saw India Willoughby. Here we go. Here's one. Now, this is not necessarily pro non-women being women, but let's see. This says no real woman will go to the police to arrest someone for calling her a man. No real woman will feel triggered when people call her a man. She is self-affirmed in her identity as a woman and unbothered by contrary external opinions. Because that person there is not, well, by my definition, this person is not a woman. But I suppose if I was trying to save her from getting hit by a bus, I would say save her just because of her appearance. And look, what's important is the person you're talking to needs to understand the language you're using and for specific purposes. And so, if that person right there who's not really a woman but looks like a traditionally dressed woman, which, look, just your clothes don't make you a woman. But if she was about to get hit by a bus, I'd be like, hey, save her. And people would know who I was talking about. So anyway. This dude and his interview is insane. Oh, is this because he's complaining about J.K. Rowling? Let's see.
J.K. Rowling has definitely committed a crime.
Oh, that!
I'm really a woman. She knows I'm a woman, and she calls me a man. It's
no.
a protected characteristic.
Well, no. She knows that you are a male, and her definition of woman is different than yours. And guess what? Well, here's what.
And that is a breach of both the Equalities Act and the gender recognition.
Except there have been cases in the UK where they have said that, you know what, you're allowed to have your own definition of sex versus gender. And because they tried to railroad another woman who made similar claims that J.K. Rowling made, and the court acquitted her of the charges. So, sorry, India. Everyone knows, you make it very clear that you are not. I'm not going to play this. I don't need to play it. It's not really important today. Hello, anonymity. T2, I'll be back. Nice to see you. All right. there we go. Let's move on. International Women's Day. What's this one? Oh, and then Happy International Women's Day. Someone put this one up. Now, this was from a movie that some action movie, and the what is this? Is this Paramount or Metro Goldwyn Mayer? I think it's Metro Goldwyn Mayer. The Statue of Liberty type thing beats the hell out of the two attackers there, which I think is kind of a funny little thing there. But also, I wonder, though, for International Women's Day, is that just promoting violence? I don't know. It's cool. Happy International Women's Day. This is some fighter in Palestine, whatever. And then also, here's the Bring Back Our Girls. The hostages still being held by Hamas. So a lot of people, it's funny, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people use Twitter, every post on Twitter, to promote causes that have nothing to do with the posts. And so you get a lot of things where people are talking about Hamas or Israel, whatever, no matter what the topic is. It could be just about anything. So anyway, one more. Let's see. Do I have another thank you to do here? Let me go to my notifications. Yes, thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep, retweeting the show. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on. Since the big news yesterday is the State of the Union, and Joe Biden's mumbling through the State of the Union. Well, actually, he was screaming through the State of the Union. It sounded like I said, old man Simpson, yelling at kids on his lawn. But that is the biggest trending topic today. Everything was either State of the Union or something about wrestling or basketball. So we're just going to go ahead and get into the main part of the show, because that's what that's what that says over there. Biden cures cancer. That was one of the weirdest parts of the speech. So he was talking about we did a great rollout of the COVID vaccines, and now they're using those vaccines to cure cancer. What? Joe Biden cured cancer, is curing cancer with the COVID vaccines. And but anyway, let's get the State of the Union, because that's what we're really here to talk about. So obviously yesterday was the State of the Union. A lot of people talking about it. And just SOTU is one of the trending topics here. We'll just go through a couple of these X tweets, and then we'll get a couple of articles here. So, for example, someone named Maze Moore says, notice that the 2022 and 2023 State of the Union speeches were almost identical. Tonight's speech was the exact same lines, combined with saying, "My predecessor is bad" 25 times. So here is just some excerpts from the speech that Mays chose to show us here. Here we go.
Build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. To build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. When the middle class grows, the poor have a way up and the wealthy do very well. Because when the middle class does well, the poor have a ladder up, and the wealthy still do.
He said these same lines this year, too. Now, because that's McCarthy, though, so it was the prior 2 years. But he used almost the exact same lines this year.
Very well. We'll build a national network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. We're going to build 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations, 10,000.
Okay, by the way, he also mentioned the 500,000 electric charging stations again in this year's speech. Now, he said that in the first speech. They allocated funds in the whatever that infrastructure bill was for the electric charging stations. And apparently, I think to date, they've built 7 electric charging stations. I think they're all in Ohio or something like that. 7. Now, he keeps saying 500,000 electric charging stations. And this is the 3rd year he's been talking about it. And they've put up 7. Or they had put up 7 or something like that. It was some really ridiculously low number. Under 10, though. Less than 10. It's been 3 years.
New jobs. It's going to create 10,000 jobs. There's been a law on the books for almost a century.
He used this line too.
Taxpayers' dollars support American jobs and businesses.
He had this one too, talking about how you're supposed to buy American. The same lines this year in the year's
Buy American has been the law since 1933.
He's using the exact same line.
We're actually doing it. We'll buy America. Using federal infrastructure projects.
He probably flubbed the word the same way, too.
To be made in America. That we'd all agree that the present tax system ain't fair. The tax system is not fair.
He said, I mean, I can't believe it. I watched this. This is 2002, 2003. These exact same lines were used last night. This is amazing.
The dining room table or kitchen table, chairs the dining room table, constantly reminding you. The only nation that can be defined by a single word, possibilities.
He
I
used
can
the same
define it in one
lines.
word, and I mean this. Possibilities.
Okay, I can't do it anymore. It's in the link, or it's in the topic. Now here's top 10 headlines the media didn't tell you this week. House passed the Lake and Riley Act, requiring ICE to detain illegals who are charged with crimes. Someone's pissed off about that. 170 Democrats voted against that bill. Tucker Carlson calls Biden's State of the Union speech the most un-American speech in U.S. history. Chief Justice Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas skips Biden's State of the Union. Clarence Thomas does not go to State of the Union addresses. It's not that he just skipped Biden's. He skips most of them. Alabama House Representative passed a bill to ban individuals from using a restroom that is different from their gender at birth. How about their sex at birth? Stop using, I want them to stop using gender, because gender is a charged word that really means nothing. Good morning, number one. Nice to see you. Let's see. Okay, I don't care about this post. We're talking about the State of the Union. Mary Catherine Ham, I'm against heckling at the State of the Union, but so help me God, if there are some more consequences for the Gold Star father yelling at a president who has neglected to mention 13 Marines murdered during Afghanistan withdrawal than there is for any person who botched that withdrawal. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just skip this now, because these are there's a bunch of people tweeting about it, right? Let's get into what happened, though. And I'm going to use 3 different examples. Just the News is just John Solomon. He's definitely right-leaning as far as his political philosophy. And let's read how he reads about this, though. President Joe Biden said at his State of the Union address Thursday evening that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas. Now, I haven't figured out exactly how freedom and democracy are under attack at home. You mean people might vote for someone other than you, Joe? Because that's all I can think. He literally compared January 6th to the Civil War in his speech. He started out the speech that way. He opened his address on Capitol Hill, touching upon Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He predicted that Russia's President Vladimir Putin won't stop at Ukraine. See, because Putin's going to go attack the rest of the NATO countries in Europe, right? That's what he's saying. He said, as far as Ukraine, he said, they're not asking for American soldiers, he said of Ukraine, asking Congress to vote in favor of the billions in funds for which he's asked on behalf of Ukraine. Biden said Trump recently saying he'd let Russia to do whatever the hell they want to any NATO country that doesn't pay enough was outrageous, which, of course, that was out of context. It's not a future prediction. He was talking about how he was negotiating with the Europeans and NATO, European countries in NATO that weren't living up to their obligations. And it wasn't a future. It was what he said in the past. Hello, Godzilla. What's up? And Reese Donald, welcome. President mentioned that January 6th Capitol riot and said democracy ultimately prevailed. Yeah, right. And then he said that line, "You can't love your country only when you win." Oh, really? That's fascinating. That's a fascinating statement, because he's referring to Donald Trump saying you can't only love your country when you win. I wonder if all those people who spent 4 years calling Donald Trump an illegitimate president, I wonder if that counts in that statement. I'm curious. So anyway, and then he's later called for a guarantee for in vitro fertilization nationwide. He said, like most Americans, I believe Roe versus Wade got it right. Well, you disagree with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Ben. And then he argued that Trump is the reason Roe versus Wade was overturned, and he brags about it. Biden looked at the Supreme Court justice criticizing their ruling. Now that it almost sounded like at that part of the speech that he was threatening the Supreme Court. It was kind of wild the way he did it. And he was in his angry Homer or Grandpa Simpson voice, just And it was really weird. I just thought it was weird. I mean, anyway, he looked at the Supreme Court and criticized the ruling. He said, women are not without electoral or political power. You are about to realize just how much you brought about. Well, how would they realize it? They're just on the Supreme Court. They're not political. Now, he's saying that women are going to change women are going to, basically what Biden is saying is women are going to vote for Democrats because of this. Well, okay, that's fine. It doesn't mean the ruling was wrong. The Roe versus Wade was always bad law. It created something out of nothing that had nothing to do with the Constitution. They were just, they were social managing what the laws were and not allowing the states to do what they do. So anyway, after the ruling overturning Roe versus Wade leaked publicly, Congress passed heightened security measures for the justices. He again attacked Trump over his response to the COVID pandemic. Yes, Donald Trump should not have listened to Dr. Anthony Fauci. I agree 100%. He said, my predecessor failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to the American people, and the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. Really? Do you think he didn't care? That's really weird, Joe. Later, Biden credited. This is the other part. Later, Biden credited the vaccine, which was developed under Trump, for turning the setback into a comeback. Biden also argued that Trump and other former presidents failed to buy American during their presidencies which I, again, try to figure out what the fuck he's talking about. Biden issued executive orders to buy American and hire American. Biden described the State of the Union as strong and getting stronger as Democrats in the chamber chanted 4 more years. Biden said he is eliminating title insurance for federally backed home loans. This pilot program has already faced resistance, according to reports. Yeah, that's an interesting one, too. So if you get, for example, a FHA home loan and you put less than, you put like 3% down, you have to purchase title insurance, right? Which is not unusual because you have to do it for anytime you put less than 20% down, you have to buy mortgage insurance, right? And then mortgage insurance, title insurance, or both. But why? Why? The less you put down, it's just proven actuarial fact that people who put less money down are more likely to default because you don't want to lose the money you put down. If you put zero down on a house and you finance all your closing costs, or you get your seller to pay all your closing costs, you come into a house for $0 and you're just paying your mortgage payment, you're more likely to default because you really have nothing to lose other than the house that you had put nothing into. It's just an actuarial fact. And so I don't know why he's doing that. But anyway, he also called for universal access to preschool for every 3 and 4-year-old. Oh, really? So we're going to add federally funded preschool? And he said the reason was because, kids who go to preschool are more likely to do whatever, read and whatever. And he had this big goal that every child should be able to read by 3rd grade. I thought that was just normal. Like, I know that isn't happening because the teachers unions don't give a fuck, but I thought that was just a normal thing to do, right? Then he suggested raising the minimum corporate tax he imposed from 15% to 20%. He also said billionaires should be required to pay 25% in taxes, which he estimated would raise $500 billion over the next decade. So if you pay 25% taxes on what? That's what he didn't say. What does he mean when he says billionaires should pay a minimum of 25% in taxes on what? On their assets? On their income? What? On what, Joe? I'm curious. And I got to tell you. So $500 billion over a decade. So that's $50 billion a year. That's not even a full day of running the federal government. And he's claiming, oh, we do all these, we can do that, we can have all these programs, whatever. Hey, we're in deficit spending right now, Joe. So what are you talking about? You're gonna raise $500 billion and spend it and still do nothing about the deficit? Holy shit, we are on the fucking Titanic, ready to hit the iceberg. Anyway, and then he touted the border deal that died in the Senate due to opposition Republicans. Get this bill done. We need to act now. I'm ready to fix it. Hey, Joe, guess what? In the Constitution, the immigration part of your job is your job, and you have the power to do it right now. You just don't want to be responsible for it. So you're claiming that, oh, it's because Republicans wouldn't pass a bill in the 4th year of my presidency that all this bad immigration, all these people crossing the border illegally in the first 3 years was because we didn't pass a bill in my 4th year. Shut the fuck up. You got to be kidding me. Okay, moving on. And then he attacked Trump's strict policies he implemented to crack down on illegal immigration. Oh, like the ones that kind of worked a little better than what's happening now. Then Biden held up a pin with Laken Riley's name on it, and it said, Lincoln Riley, an innocent woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right, but how many of the thousands of people are being killed by illegals? Now, we'll get to that in a minute because that was a controversial part of the speech for a couple different reasons. He noted that he lost children and his heart goes out to Riley's parents. But does he know when he lost them and how he lost them? Because he keeps saying one of his sons died in Afghanistan, which did not happen, or in Iraq. Anyway, and then he argued that America is safer today than when I took office. I'm curious what the metric is he's using for that. A heckler was then escorted out of the gallery, shouting. The heckler reported, well, we'll get to that too. Okay, so there you go. Let's see. In response to Biden's statement, House GOP whip Tom Emmer, Republican from Minnesota, posted on X, tell that to Laken Riley's parents. Yeah, so there you go. And then he also called for more gun control measures. Okay, that was just so he could criticize Trump. So let's go to the Daily Caller. We'll look at theirs real quick. How am I doing? Oh, I'm doing good for time. Wow, unbelievable. I'm ahead of the game today. Probably because I almost started on time. That helps. In the Daily Caller, Biden focuses on issues Americans care least about in the biggest speech of his presidency. Again, the Daily Caller is not a fan of Joseph Rahim Biden. Amazing disgrace. Welcome. Republican rebuttal was its own sort of bet. Yeah, you know what? Let me just say something about the other party's rebuttal to the State of the Union. They always suck. Because, one, they don't have the fanfare and the up, down, clap like seals mentality of the State of the Union. It's not the bully pulpit. You're usually off in some quiet place where nobody's listening, and it's in this one, especially in the woman's kitchen, whatever. We'll get to it. I'm going to get to it. I promise. Okay. President Joe Biden set aside immigration, inflation, and crime, which are the most important things people want to talk about, and to lead his 2024 State of the Union speech off with a trio of issues that hardly register in polls of the American people. During his first 10 minutes of the State of the Union, he spent his time discussing the war in Ukraine and the January 6th Capitol riot before moving on to discuss the COVID-19 pandemic. At least an hour after the president was scheduled to take the podium, he finally touched on concerns about his age, the southern border crisis, and answered growing calls to say the name of Laken Riley, the deceased Georgia 22-year-old who was allegedly killed by an illegal immigrant. Okay? But he wanted to say, if anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop in Ukraine, I assure you, he will not. But Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons it needs to defend itself. That is all Ukraine is asking. They are not asking for American soldiers. Now, what's interesting about that phrase, do you hear people like any kind of regular manner talking about sending American soldiers to Ukraine? I'm like, is that a big topic? I know we're talking about sending weapons, right? But is it a big topic about, even from Republicans, I don't hear them talking about us sending American troops to Ukraine. So why did Biden bring that up? I'm flummoxed. When Joe Biden says they're not asking for American soldiers, I get a little nervous, wondering, Joe, are you considering sending American soldiers to Ukraine? Because no one else is bringing that up. So anyway, then he stresses messages to Putin. After stressing his message to Putin and making a pitch for Ukraine aid, Biden pivoted to another topic that occurred nearly 3.5 years ago, the January 6th Capitol riot. Yes. And for some reason, the Capitol riot from 3 years ago, which has had no recurring incidents of any magnitude or even similarity, that nobody's really talking about other than him and the courts where they're trying to railroad a lot of these people into really long prison sentences for minor fucking infractions. But he brings it up every year and every time he talks. Dog for Apple. Hello, Scribe. What's up, my brother? And TC's over on YouTube now too. Nice to see you. So I'm very confused, but because that's pretty low on the priority list of what people are talking about, except, well, some Democrats and some of the shills on X, of course. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth of January 6th. Oh, no. Not, that's a lie too. See, it's the Democrats who don't like the fact that more footage is being seen on January 6th. That's who's wants to bury the truth. Because the truth, there's a whole big truth about what went on, but you had a committee that only talked about this part of the truth, right? This part, I have to get my hands here. This part of the truth, okay? But some people want you to see more of what happened. And you guys are really pissed about that. So I'm curious what that meant, Joe. And then he talked about COVID. Now, the weird part of it, too. Now, did anyone mention the thing about cancer in any of these articles? Come Back America, blah, 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 COVID. I'm trying to scroll through this. Because I want the line about COVID and cancer. It was bizarre. And I know when in the first State of the Union he did it, or 2022 when he did a State of the Union. Apparently Joe is living back in the 2000s, maybe the 90s, when everyone wanted to talk about curing cancer, right? And look, there have been a lot of treatments for cancer. Cancer treatments have been very successful and whatever. In recent years, there have been many breakthroughs over the years, but cancer use when I was younger. And thank you, Tyre, if you're anywhere near this computer. The curing cancer was always like the big topic when I was younger, right? But it's not so much anymore. A lot of people talk about it. I mean, not that we don't want to have cures for cancer. There's just been a lot of breakthroughs and whatever. But Joe's talking about it like this is like the late 80s. Or 90s, when we were always talking about, how are we going to find cures for cancer? How are we going to find cures for cancer? And that was always the big applause line. And so Joe using that applause line, and especially relating it to the COVID vaccines, was just bizarre to me. And it's like, that's an old time applause line. But so some people were just like, say what? What did he just say? But it's interesting. I'm not seeing it in this article either. But the only major flub was when he called Lincoln Riley. Okay, that's what they're saying here. I'm just going through this list. Okay, we don't need to go through it anymore. Let's try Breitbart. Now, here's Breitbart is pointing out 13 times Joe Biden attacked Donald Trump during the State of the Union. President Joe Biden attacked former President Donald Trump several times throughout Thursday's evening's State of the Union address in what amounted to what many described as an extremely partisan speech. Well, it was a stump speech. It wasn't a State of the Union speech, but perhaps the most partisan State of the Union in history. Biden referred to Trump 13 times during the State of the Union address, with the first mention occurring just minutes in, repeatedly referring to his predecessor throughout the roughly hour-long speech. Now, here's some of the incidents with emphasis added. Biden kicked off a speech by talking about not about the State of the Union, but about the country of Ukraine. The State of the Union. We're going to talk about Ukraine. Well, but no, what's happening here? No, we're going to talk about Ukraine. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop Ukraine, I assure you he will not, Biden said. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons to defend. That's all Ukraine is asking. At that point, Biden referred to Trump, telling members of Congress, now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote, really, no joke. The former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable. So that was his first time, which, if you take the context of what Trump was doing, no, he didn't. Hello, Damien Gershwin. What's up? Gorilla Grip? Oh, no. Oh, Damien, you scared me. Second mention of Biden predecessor Trump occurred just a few minutes later while mentioning January 6th. America stood strong and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th, Biden said. I will not do that. This is a moment to speak the truth and bury the lies. There's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win. Which, really, if you think about it, that was a brilliant applause line by Biden, even though it's bullshit. But it is for the people who want to support him, that's brilliant. Third time Biden attacked Trump during his defense of abortion. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe versus Wade overturned. He was the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Then, the fourth time, Biden, 81, bashed Trump again during a section on pushing the pro-abortion agenda, demonizing pro-life individuals who believe that unborn babies are made in the image of God and have value. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? He did. That's a quote. Now, the sentence didn't make any sense. Fifth time, next line of attack came during Biden's brief section on the pandemic and following economic crisis, asserting that Trump failed in his duty to care. No, he failed by following Dr. Anthony Fauci. He said the amount of spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones. The amount of spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones, millions left behind, a mental crisis, isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to the American people, the duty to care, Biden said. I think it's unforgivable. You know what's funny about that? So if you think about, when did the major portion of the pandemic start? It started in roughly March. March 16th was when we shut the country down in 2020. And Joe Biden came into office January 20th, 2021. And all the government lockdowns and shutdowns or whatever was what he was continuing to encourage. And the schools, they didn't open, and well into the 21. Okay. It was at the end of 21. So he's talking about the isolation. When he said isolation, I'm like, well, wait a minute, Joe, you continued the isolation. You continued listening to Dr. Anthony Fauci. You continued the same policies. And the spikes in crime were happening at the beginning of your watch. And how is it that he failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes the American people, the duty to care? What are you talking about? Remember, Trump was pushing for reopening at the end of his term. He's the one who pushed through the vaccines, whether or not that's a good thing or not. What do you mean? Did he do it just for his glory, or did he did it because we needed to get it fixed? Was he trying to solve problems? Was he listening to the advisors that you think were the greatest advisors in the world, specifically Dr. Anthony Fauci? What the fuck are you talking about? So 6th time, he tagged Trump again, asserting he failed to prioritize buying American, which I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about there. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. Do you have any examples, Joe? Do you have examples? And I don't care which ones, whether the Democrats or Republicans prior to you. I mean, all these presidents said, we need to buy American, right? And it's been a law since the 30s. Do you have examples of presidents who failed to buy American? What does that even mean? Black Hebrew Israelite, what's up? Missed you, dude.
That's right.
7th time, Biden attacked Trump while speaking about healthcare. Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied healthcare insurance because of pre-existing conditions. 100 million of us? Do you mean as part of the Affordable Care Act? If you're on so-called Obamacare, I don't think there's 100 million people on Obamacare. I don't know if that applies to all health insurance. Does it? I thought it was just Obamacare. But anyway, my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this great prescription drug away by repealing. Oh, yeah. So they're quoting him verbatim here. So if these sentences don't make sense, that's because they're quoting him verbatim, and his sentence syntax can be as confusing as Donald Trump's, but completely forgetting words. Oh, listen to the sentence. Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing conditions. But my predecessor and many in his chamber want to take for this great prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act. No, he's talking about insulin, because he's still claiming that he said he beat Big Pharma by lowering drug costs. He beat Big Pharma by lowering drug costs. The only drug cost that he was insulin, which Donald Trump had already done, and Biden repealed it and then put it back. And that's only for, I believe, Medicare. Not all insulin across the board for every person in the country, just people on Medicare. Now, he says he wants to expand that because he's saying, well, it only costs $10 to produce and it'll still make a good profit, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, I don't get it. What is he talking about? Anyway, so he said, my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this great prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act. Then he claimed notably, Biden claimed, notably, the official transcript reads different though, because they changed the transcript because they wanted to sound like it made sense. But my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take that protection away by repealing the Affordable Care Act, which because he got mixed up. But he said, the words he said were prescription drug away. Anyway, 8th time he mentioned occurred during his defense of the bad border bill. Quote, but unfortunately politics in this something derail this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate, demanded they block the bill. He feels political something, Biden said, stumbling. The official transcript reads, he feels it would be a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him or me. It'd be a winner for America. That he never said. Those are words he never said. And that's in the official transcript. That's because it's how it was written in the speech, I think. But he never said that. Moments later, he mentioned Trump again in the same context. My predecessor is watching instead of playing politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill. Again, moments later, he mentioned Trump yet again on the issue of immigration. I will not demonize immigrants, say they are poisoning the blood of our country. I will not separate families. Bullshit. I will not ban people because of their faith. Okay, again, nobody was banned from the country because of their faith. There were 7 countries that the Obama administration said there probably shouldn't have people here coming from that he banned, but certainly Indonesia wasn't one of them, and India has plenty of Muslims that'll come here, and there's all kinds of Muslim countries that they didn't ban for people coming from. It's just bullshit. They're still on that. The Muslim ban. The Muslim ban. Are you going to ban? If it was a Muslim ban, would they ban people coming from London? Some of you will get that. Tyre Alexander. What's up, Mr. Tyre Alexander, the gentleman. I just thought I'd do the full cycle today. The 12th reference to Trump came during his rant against guns. Oh, wait, did I skip that? Yeah, I did. Okay, no. Oh, then again, Biden mentioned Trump a final time on the topic of immigration because, unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. What the fuck does that mean? 12th time. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. And then the final time, excuse me, reference to Trump came during his brief section on China.
China is asshole.
Attempting to present himself as tough on China's leader, despite reality. He said, and since I've come to office, our GTP is up. Our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade, and we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices, Biden said to applause. I revitalized our partnerships, alliances in the Pacific, India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure the most advanced American technology can't be used by China. Well, they just steal it, so how do you know? Not allowing them to trade there. Frankly, for all his tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessors to do any of that. So anyway, those are the 13 times. Let's just do some other, I'm going to do some quick, just quick reactions. I'm not going to get to half the stuff because I got to get to Q&A. What the hell did I do there? There we go. Also in Breitbart, Trump did a live reaction to Biden's State of the Union. So angry, so crazy. It's the craziest. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Former President Donald Trump reacted live to President Joe's State of the Union address on Truth Social, addressing several of Biden's false claims while offering commentary laced with his trademark sense of humor. Look, I'm going to leave this article up. There's a few of these zingers. For example, Putin only invaded Ukraine because he has no respect for Biden. Would have never happened under the Trump administration, and for 4 years it didn't happen. That's the fact check. No, I said, about that thing about saying that he let Putin do whatever he wants. Trump says no. I said NATO has to pay its bills, and if it doesn't pay its bills, we are not going to protect you. The money came pouring in. Under other presidents, NATO was broke. Well, now this is a little incorrect on Trump's part too. NATO agreed to live up to their obligations under the NATO treaty as far as what percentage of their GDP they need to be spending towards their own defense. It's not like they're giving money to NATO. They're contributing by also bolstering their own defenses so that we don't have to be the ones to protect everybody. And that's what Trump did, and it should be that way. He also said, he looks so angry when he's talking, which is a trait of people who know they are losing it. The anger and shouting is not helping bringing our country back together. I give him that. He's so angry and crazy. Anyway, there's all kinds of Trump reactions to the speech on Truth Social. PJ Media, fact-checking the fabulist, and that's the biggest thing about Biden. He is a major fabulist. So anyway, fact-checking the fabulous in Chief State of the Union by Stacey Lennox. Joe Biden has always had a casual relationship with the truth. Just ask any Gold Star parent who has had to listen to him lie about his son Beau dying in Iraq. During Thursday's State of the Union address, Biden fully displayed his fabulous tendencies. His assessment of this administration's accomplishments and his impact was not anchored in reality. He accused Republicans of trying to bury the truth about January 6, 2021. This is odd since the January 6th committee that existed prior to the Republican majority lost encrypted files. The Republican majority has also released thousands of hours of tape of the events to the public. Apparently, Biden does not believe Americans can watch the footage and make their own assessment. Biden falsely asserted that President Trump proposed an abortion ban. Trump actually proposed a 16-week restriction, which is more generous than most European countries and in line with voters' views on the procedure. It is also not clear whether any federal law will affect abortion, as the issue was given back to the states with the Dobbs decision. Biden also wants credit for some kind of post-COVID renaissance. He said, quote, "I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history, and we have. It doesn't make the news, but thousands of cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story ever told." This week, San Francisco voters passed ballot measures to set minimum police staffing levels, allowing officers to chase suspects on foot with drones and establish facial recognition systems. They also decided that anyone receiving public assistance must pass a drug test or enter a treatment program. Now, why is that? I'm not sure where that is. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is setting... Oh, these are examples of how the comeback. This is the comeback. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is sending the National Guard into New York City subways, essentially to stop and frisk people. No search, no train ride, according to the governor. Crime was so bad in Portland, Oregon, that the city just reversed its drug decriminalization laws. These three progressive hellholes trying to claw their way back to combat retail theft gangs, homelessness, and violent crime. That is the reality everyone can see. The administration is also fond of claiming it created 15 million jobs. Now it's 15 million jobs, Joe calls it. A number that Biden repeated this evening. Recovering jobs lost to pandemic shutdowns is not job creation. Almost 22 million jobs were lost in April and May of 2020. Even CNN called foul on claims like this, previously noting Biden is free to argue that his stimulus legislation and other policies have helped the country gain jobs faster than it otherwise would have. As always, it's debatable precisely how much credit the president deserves for job creation. Nonetheless, it is clear that there could only be such an extraordinary number of jobs added in 2021 and 2022 because there was such an extraordinary number of jobs lost in 2020. So, duh. Besides, Biden takes no accountability for anything. He once again blamed inflation on corporations with the made-up shrinkflation and price fixing on consumer goods and housing. He also touted a 3% inflation as the lowest in the world. This may fool Cookie Monster, but it does not ring true with the public. Cumulative food inflation from 2019 to 2023, 25%. It shocks no one to guess who goes to the grocery that prepared foods will either be more expensive or contain less. Housing is up over 20%, blowing $5 trillion into an economy full of post-pandemic pent-up demand. Not corporate greed is what has working Americans cutting corners. He also claimed that consumer confidence is soaring. At no point during his administration did it reach Trump-level eras, and the most recent trend is downward. He bragged about the number of projects announced thanks to the infrastructure bill. Announcements mean nothing. Major projects take years to get permitted and get caught up for years in the legal system if local communities object. Right now, engineers and lawyers are the only ones getting paid. Of course, Biden chose to blame the crisis at the border on Republicans refusing to pass a border security bill. Like the Inflation Reduction Act, the bill's name had nothing to do with its contents. It was a process people faster, grant more asylum, and make as many as we can citizens bill. Oh, that is spot on. Biden created the current crisis by reversing about 90 Trump-era policies. He can end it by reinstating him. He does not need Congress to do anything. Then, in a huge gaffe, Biden mispronounced Laken Riley's name, calling her Lincoln Riley, and acknowledging an illegal immigrant killed her. He added, how many thousands of people are being killed by illegals? Great question, Joe. Then he went on a weird rant about human smuggling and asserted that fewer people would pay coyotes if they had to wait for 6 weeks for a hearing rather than 6 months. Oh, I'm sure that's it, because none of those people just disappear into the country. He yelled, send me a border bill now. Perhaps he didn't know that Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had been sitting on H.R. 2, an actual border security bill, since 2023. That's the other one people say, oh, the Republicans refused a border bill. Oh, no, they gave you a border bill, and Chuck Schumer hasn't introduced it in the Senate yet. It's already passed the House. Then he went on the pay your fair share rant, accusing Republicans of giving corporations and the wealthy tax cuts. The top 10% of taxpayers pay roughly 75% of all federal taxes collected, and the U.S. Treasury also begs to differ. The wealthy pay a much larger share of their total income. In an apparent swipe at rival Donald Trump, at one point, Biden said, my lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on the core values that have defined American society: honesty, decency, dignity, equality. Wait a minute, honesty? The guy with 3 degrees and graduated at the top of his law class wants to talk about honesty? To respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, there are more here, but let's move on, because I'm taking too long on this, and we got a lot to get to. So if you want to read the rest of that fact check, it'll be in the links today. I drop all of these links in the chat at the end of the show, and also in the description of both Rumble and YouTube of this video. So you can find all those links there, and also on Discord. So you can find it all on the Discord server too. So some of the things trending because of Joe Biden's speech, which I don't know if you want these things trending, but one of them is yelling. Glad I didn't bother watching the State of the Union, as it was just another shitty performance by Dimension Joe yelling about everything except supporting Americans first. That's Colonel Rob Maness. LOL to Democrats. Joe Biden yelling at a State of the Union made him seem vigorously ready to run a campaign. The rest of America showed something else. He has a problem that's symptomatic of why we should go home and only yell at his caregivers. Oh my God. Another thing trending because of Joe Biden's speech, State of the Union, obviously. This is interesting too, because we'll get to the Gold Star father arrested during the State of the Union. Dementia was trending because a lot of people are calling him Dementia Joe still. The Daily Krassenstein. Here's the Daily Krassenstein. Because it's a Krassenstein. President Biden did so well at the State of the Union address last night. Republicans have moved away from their dementia claim. No, we haven't. So what do? They are now claiming that he was on hard drugs like cocaine, while others are claiming he was on Adderall. Yeah, God. I'm pretty sure he was on Adderall. But anyway, that's how low some of them will go. Really? Oh, wow. Gee, no one ever said anything like that about Donald Trump while he was president. No, I've never heard these kinds of claims before. Never, ever. In fact, were you the one who was talking about what was the drug they were talking about they found a ton of in the White House? Anyway, whatever. Even Fox News has jumped on the bandwagon because that's the only explanation they can use to convince the American people that their false narrative about dementia is actually true. Okay. That's the kind of shit you get from the Krassensteins all the time. Another thing trending, angry. State of the Union and angry. Now that's not the only reason angry was trending though. Marjorie Taylor Greene is trending. And I do not. Oh, Moscow. Yeah, he offered to fly us to Moscow to get cheap drugs, too. That was the other one. That was hilarious. Thank you, AD, for reminding me of that one. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't like the heckling that she does, although she did get she did get Joe Biden to mention Laken Riley, even though he didn't say her name right. And in fact, this is one of those accounts that are especially, Biden-centric accounts, call to activism. Holy shit, Marjorie Taylor Greene just interrupted President Biden about the border, and he turned it right around on her masterfully. Okay, let's see how masterfully this is. Here we go.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
Now, wait a minute. She actually saved him here because he was about to flub up. He's trying to read his teleprompter, but he got lost. And so her heckling at that moment saved him. Watch this again.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
See? And then all the Democrats is telling her to shut up. Now here's him turning this around masterfully.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To repair.
Oh, he's saying thousands of people killed by legals. That's what he was trying to say. But he said Lincoln Riley. So anyway, I don't like this kind of heckling at the State of the Union. Just personally. But yeah, he kept saying Lincoln Riley, and so that's trending. Marjorie Taylor Greene rips unfit Biden after president refers to slain nursing student as Lincoln Riley at the State of the Union. So there's a whole article in the New York Post about that. So, and also, this is probably not something you want trending today. If you were the president of the United States, you probably don't want Lincoln Riley trending. Now, unless you're the football coach at the USC, which Lincoln Riley is the head football coach at USC, but that's not the Lincoln Riley that we're talking about. So lots of people on the right are tweeting Lincoln Riley and blah, blah, blah. So that he gave them one freebie. And also, this is just on the heels of the fact that the GOP-led House passed the Laken Riley Act. 170 Democrats voted against it. The U.S. House of Representatives passed the Laken Riley Act on Thursday, a bill that will require federal officials to arrest illegal immigrants who have been charged with theft in the United States. By a vote of 251 to 170, the House approved the bill that is named after Laken Riley, the 22-year-old Georgia nursing student who was brutally murdered allegedly by an illegal immigrant while she was out for a run last month. All voting Republicans and 37 Democrats helped pass the bill, while 170 Democrats opposed it. Now, and then people are kind of pissed at Democrats for voting it. They didn't like the language of it, so because they don't like when you call people illegal. Representative O'Connor suggested to Fox News that most Democrats oppose the legislation over concerns about the rights of illegal immigrants who are taken into custody. To have someone detained without that due process, I think is un-American. What? Wait a minute. If you get arrested for a crime and you're taken into custody, what are you talking about? Now, the due process, I don't know if they said that especially you're already here illegally. So if you get caught breaking the law and you're already here illegally, it might be a good idea to have you in jail until you have your sentencing or hearing, whatever, trial. So that's fascinating. Also, and in fact, apparently Laken Riley's murder has family ties to notorious Tren de Aragua gang that was targeted by Trump. Diego Ibarra, brother of Jose Ibarra, the illegal alien accused of murdering Laken Riley, is likely a member of the Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang, according to court documents, which is one that I guess famously was... recently former President Donald Trump warned that Tren de Aragua is partly responsible for the 33,000 assaults, 3,000 robberies, and almost 7,000 burglaries, 7,500 weapon offenses, 4,300 sex crimes, 1,600 kidnappings, and 1,700 homicides linked to illegal aliens detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So that's something that Trump had highlighted before. Let's see. Oh, also Steve Nicol. Now, this is the guy, the Gold Star father, who got removed from the State of the Union. Here's the Post article. Gold Star dad arrested after heckling Biden during State of the Union. A heckler who shouted at President Biden during the State of the Union address Thursday night was identified as the father of a fallen Marine and was later arrested over the disruption. America is safer today than when I took office, Biden, 81, was in the middle of saying before he was interrupted from the chamber's balcony. Abby Gate, Steve Nicoya, yelled down at the president. 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. So his son was in that, one of the ones killed at the time. Capitol Police escorted Nicoya, 51, out of the chamber around 10:15 p.m. and took him into custody. He was charged. Now he's charged with crowding, obstructing, or incommoding Congress, a misdemeanor that typically results in the offender's release after paying a $50 fine. And his son was killed by a suicide bomber outside Kabul's International Airport while trying to process evacuees. And the Biden administration botched Afghanistan withdrawal in 2021. So, and there's concern that they're going to try to up his charges, like similar to January 6th type charges, to put him in jail for 5 years. That'd be a public relations nightmare for the Biden administration, if you ask me. Just saying, please do that. See how that works for y'all. Also trending, Mike Johnson. This is a typical Mike Johnson face during the State of the Union. Some people are bitching about Mike Johnson for what he would not stand for. And apparently they're mad because he wasn't clapping and standing for certain aspects of the speech that they thought he should. I don't think the people sitting behind the president should be jumping up and down like trained seals anyway. But he's clapped politely for the things that were important to him and didn't clap for a lot of the bullshit that came out of Biden's mouth. That's his prerogative. It's his prerogative. Nancy Pelosi's trending. Now, here's what Nancy Pelosi was mad about when it came to Biden flubbing Laken Riley's name. Okay, this is what Nancy Pelosi thought was the most important thing about Joe Biden flubbing Laken Riley's name. Here it is.
Dan.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
No, I actually wasn't even going to ask about that. I was just going to ask more about the moment. But you do think that he should have said undocumented? That wasn't going to be my question.
Well, we usually say undocumented. He said
that's so important. That's so important that the killer of Lincoln Riley be called undocumented and not illegal. That's the most important thing that we could have thought of. Also trending, Katie Britt, who did the Republican response. It was weird, I guess. I haven't watched it. Here, this. And so some people were making fun of it. Yeah, Charlie, I watched thousands of hours of political videos in the past 20 years, and I've never seen anything like Senator Katie Britt's rebuttal of the State of the Union. Here's just an example. I
never could have imagined what my story would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation.
She's got that
one lifetime.
Millennial affected,
it's breathtaking.
What do you call it? Vocal growl thing?
The American dream has turned into a nightmare for so many families. The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting. Our country can do better.
Okay, so here's the deal.
And you don't have to look any further.
It's a little too rehearsed and dramatic. She's going with that emotional appeal. That just vocal fry, thank you. That annoys the shit out of me. It's just too damn dramatic. And yeah, you can watch it. And I don't think the things she said, probably spot on. but the the drama class vibe really has turned some people off. So there you go. Roger Stone, Katie Britt just failed her vice presidential audition. God awful. So even Republicans are not not pleased with her response. Tucker Carlson also did a response. I haven't seen it yet. There's a bunch of clips from it. Let's just look at one short clip of Tucker Carlson's response. Let's try this 44 seconds here.
Good evening and welcome to the Tucker Carlson Network live. Well, that was quite an experience watching that. You know, you think of Joe Biden as a doddering old man, a guy who can't remember when his son died or when he served as vice president. And of course, that's exactly who he is, and it's on display every day. But Joe Biden is also a cruel and vicious demagogue, a man who has no problem at all denouncing his fellow Americans or putting his political opponents in prison as he has done. And that was all on display tonight. That was possibly the darkest, most un-American speech ever given by an American president. In fact, it wasn't a speech. It was a rant, entirely lacking in decency or generosity to his fellow Americans.
Now, what's funny about that, too, is it's the same speech he's basically done the last 2 years, too. So I guess nobody's ever told him that. Here's another section here of Tucker on this.
There's lie after lie. Ukraine can stop Russia. No, it can't. This has gone on for over 2 years. NATO is stronger than ever. No, it's not. NATO is on its way to collapse, as is the economy of Western Europe. For not one sentence did Joe Biden explain what the goal of this exercise is, when we'll know we've won, and what the future should look like. Again, it was crazy talk. And yet, Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, nodded gravely. Oh, of course, he is completely on board with Joe Biden on this Biden's signature issue. And that's not a guess. As of this afternoon, Mike Johnson is secretly supporting Biden's agenda, sending another $60 billion to the oligarchs in Ukraine. Johnson plans to let Democrats onto the floor of the House to vote for this. This is a stealthy procedural move designed to shield him and other Republicans from criticism. Oh, the Democrats did it. But that's exactly what it is. He's the Speaker of the House. He could stop it, but he won't because he's on board.
Okay, so that's just a taste of Tucker Carlson. You can find those links in the links today. Also, Robert Kennedy Jr. also gave a rebuttal to speech. Well, I'll post a link to that too. And then Uvalde is trending because this is while it wasn't necessarily mentioned in Joe Biden's speech, this is one of those things that you just scratch your head. Apparently, in Uvalde, Texas, after a months-long independent investigation, it found that police officers who responded to the 2022 school shooting, during which 19 kids and 2 teachers were killed, acted in good faith, which is just wild. Now, this is CBS reporting on it. Granted, they'll probably have some gun control stuff in it, but listen to this.
Uvalde, Texas, where parents of students killed in the
parents are pretty pissed, and they should be.
Are livid. And livid is the word here after a new report defends
failed in their duty.
The police response. That investigation of the attack, commissioned by city leaders from a former police detective, contradicts the state and federal reports that found police made a series of mistakes.
Now, and again, this is the local report. Obviously, there's been 2 other reports that came to a different conclusion, but
Omar Villafranco shows us the outraged response from some very hurt parents.
How dare you?
There was anger over accountability. It's been nearly 2 years since the massacre at Uvalde's Robb Elementary, and tempers flared after the latest report on the Uvalde Police Department's response during the school shooting.
My son's birthday is on Tuesday. You know how I'm going to celebrate that? At the cemetery. I should not be doing that.
For the first time Thursday, the community and the city council heard the findings of a months-long independent investigation requested by the city. Former police detective Jesse Prado led the investigation.
All of the officers, Lieutenant Martinez, his actions I found were in good faith.
He concluded that many officers in the school that day acted in good faith and did not violate policy in their reaction to the shooting.
So now, that absolutely could be true, that they acted in, it's an interesting way to use that they acted in good faith, that they acted according to policy. I kind of think maybe the policy should be different then. In a case like that, it's their job to risk their lives for others. Now, maybe you don't think it is, but isn't that the duty you take on when you are a law enforcement officer? And it's like, you know, what do you think the people running into the buildings at 9/11, the first responders who ran in those buildings, if they just said, well, in good faith, I probably shouldn't go in there because that building might fall instead of my duty to save people. You know, it's just not a good look for having this kind of report come out. You know what I'm saying? All right. Since I'm running out of time, I do want to do Q&A today. So let me just run through the headlines of articles that I have up. There's a bunch of them on here today. In Breitbart, anti-Israel protesters block the motorcade. We already saw that one. Daily Wire, Biden's going to deploy U.S. military to Gaza to help the Palestinians. And that's, I guess, for like rebuilding infrastructure and humanitarian aid. That may not go so well. I mean, God. And also in PJ Media, what kind of risks are Americans facing building the temporary Gaza port? Yeah, we have Americans building a temporary port for them for humanitarian aid. Again, what could go wrong? Just saying. In legal insurrection, Denver is asking property owners to rent to illegal immigrants. This is great. So, and I have two articles about this. Denver apparently closed 4 illegal alien shelters, and then the next day they asked Denver residents to rent to illegal aliens. Yeah, we're going to ask you to rent to these illegal aliens. I don't know how we're going to make them pay, if we're going to pay for them or how they're going to pay their bills, but, you know, we're just going to keep doing this. It's crazy. In National Pulse, cops that were told to watch for a man. Oh, we talked about this yesterday. The guy who, what the hell, why isn't that scrolling? Cops told to watch for a man who texted his mother that he's been thinking an awful lot about bombing Trump supporters. Remember, we talked about that article, or we talked about this guy who said he was going to make his van into a moving, rolling bomb. In Daily Caller, feds used a secret portal to tell financial institutions, I will enunciate, to flag customers' purchases involving MAGA and Trump. They want to, if you buy a Trump hat, a Make America Great Again hat, or you buy some Trump gear, the federal government is watching you. I always feel like somebody's watching me, and they got no privacy. Oh, they are the federal law enforcement operated a portal while it shared guidance instructing financial institutions to identify domestic violent extremists, which included searching for customers' transactions that included keywords like MAGA and Trump, as well as purchases for items like religious text, according to a new House committee report. So, yes, if you buy some religious shit or some Trump stuff or a MAGA gear, you might be a domestic violent extremist. In Front Page, here's an article here. Poor white Trump voters are enemies of the state. So I don't know if you saw this book that came out called, what's the name of the book? White Rural Rage. And these two guys went on Morning Joe talking about how white rural enraged people are a threat to democracy. And my first thought of this is, yeah, it's really a good idea to scoff and to it's really a good idea to scoff at the people who grow your food. It's like they're really going in this thick, I swear. Jim Jordan also in the Daily Caller tees off at a hearing on a Democrat who says there are limits to free speech. Not in America, bitch. Here, let's see this one.
That is why this committee exists.
Is it Goldman?
We have gotten no evidence to support any of these allegations.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina.
I yield to the chairman such time as he may consent.
I appreciate that. I think the gentleman from New York just said that we're trying to chill the federal government. I don't know if it's ever been said that way. It's always the government trying to chill Americans' rights and chill Americans. I've never seen
the federal government is the one that should be limited. So the idea that you want to chill the federal government, that is patriotic, to chill the federal government, not the other way around.
Anything, I've never seen anything like. But guess what? You know who was opposed to how the FBI and the Bank of America did this thing when they asked for this information? You know who was opposed to it? 3 FBI agents. The guys on the case, George Hill, Bonavolanta, Steve Jensen, all testified to the committee that it was wrong. And guess who else said it was wrong? Chris Wray said this: we recalled this information to avoid even the appearance of any kind of overreach. So even the FBI, who was systematically violated Americans, this FBI who said, if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist. If you're a parent going to a school board meeting, you're a terrorist. Even the FBI said, this is ridiculous. And they pulled back. 3 agents testified. So, I mean, and somehow the government is the one who chills American speech when they pressure big tech to censor, when they ask banks to give them. That's chilling speech. And we've seen it first. Dr. Peterson's seen it in his own country, and now it's coming here. That's what we're concerned about. I yield back to the gentleman. Thank him for yielding.
Thank you, Chairman. And I would echo that. I'm glad that Thomas Massie started off with a recitation of the Fourth Amendment, because that's really why we're here. And while the other side wants to relitigate J6, the title of the hearing is about financial surveillance of American citizens. This is deeply...
So this is related to what we just talked about. So anyway, you can see the rest of that. Also in, what the hell? Jesus. In National Pulse, MSNBC compares defeating Trump to saving Europe from Hitler. Again, this on the morning Joe. It's embarrassing. Mike Barnacle directly compared U.S. involvement in World War II and efforts to defeat Trump. Of course. Legal insurrection. Tom Cotton slams the New York Times after Kathy Hochul sends the National Guard to restore safety in New York subways. Because I think the New York Times is still saying that, crime's going down. But then Kathy Hochul sends the National Guard into subways. In legal insurrection, American Thinker, Bidenites used last year's graphic to announce tonight's State of the Union address, but they forgot to change the month and year. So here it is. State of the Union, same graphic, but they forgot to put 2024. Way to go. Democrats. Nice job. Daily Caller, we're all nervous. Dems see State of the Union as a make-or-break moment for Biden. Well, they think that he hit it out of the park. I'm curious what you think. Daily Wire, people are going to remember that screaming. Daily Wire host slammed Biden over angry at State of the Union delivery. Yeah, their post-show, which I listened to while I was at work this morning, I listened to a couple different ones, and theirs was pretty funny. I encourage you to check that out. And then also they talk about Katie Britt's delivering the Republican rebuttal, which still I think that was kind of weird in my personal opinion. J.D. Vance boycotted the State of the Union events, the Republican from Ohio. So whatever. And then finally in the links, this little thing that I have to show you. And it's Minnesota hockey, the Minnesota tournament. So apparently, and I know this probably doesn't interest any of you but me, and I'm not even a hockey fan, but I thought it was pretty cool. So this is White Bear Lake versus Grand Rapids. White Bear Lake in the last 12 seconds scored, or last 25 seconds of the game scored to tie the game. This is in the Class AA quarterfinal, which is, there's 2 classes of hockey in Minnesota. And Grand Rapids, in the last 8 seconds of the game, did this.
Lost it back out to neutral. Thunderhawks now try the near side. Shermone.
With less than a second to go. Oh, he scores.
How unbelievable was that?
Anyway, so I know that you're excited about that. All right, let's get to the Q&A because that's what you're here for today. I know how this works. I know how this works, people. We're going to go to the Q&A. Let me open a window so I can, let's see, restore the chat. And, oh, I didn't want to do that. Here. Let's just put that back where it was. Let's just put it back where it was and go to the Q&A. I just won't be able to follow comments during Q&A today. So here we go. Today's Q&A brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. We have no superstar sponsor today. Someone step up. Come on. Okay, Q&A. Everyone's favorite part of the week. At least a couple of you who like to put Q&A questions in. Let's see if we have any. Let's see if anyone asked any questions this week. Let's just check right here. Oh my goodness, there's all kinds of questions. Let me close some of this stuff so I can see this. Let's see, we'll unpin that now. And then go. No, I didn't want a message deleted. I want to unpin the message. All right. First Q&A question. Did Lord Stanhope beat AD? If you decided to start doing drugs, what would you pick? Creatine. Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. I would make better choices. Avocados Diabli, you wake up in the middle of the crowd, surrounded by Democrats, dressed in white, and Joe Biden speaking incoherently. What are your first words? White power! Oh, wait. You meant the women that were wearing white. I'm sorry. Because it was like... Because, I think Joe Biden and Democrats in white, I just immediately think KKK. Anyway, Avocados Diabli, did you see they changed the Gold Star dad, or charged the Gold Star dad who heckled the president during the speech? Yeah, someone said they charged him with something that could get him 5 years in prison. Now, if they don't drop those charges and maybe give him a little minor fine, that's would be typical of the Biden administration. They're going to try to throw him in jail. Lord Stanhope, what's your favorite cut of beef? Oh, that's a good one. The prime rib roast. Hey, Tyler Alexander, thank you, sir. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. We finally have one. I can't believe it. Shut up and take my money, old man. Trail stop, return stream when? Oh, it's going to be a while. Laura's going to New York. Then we're going to Florida. And Laura and I stopped drinking for Lent, basically. Well, no, we just kind of stopped drinking for a while because we're both trying to get healthier. And so Trail Stop is kind of conducive to having Bloody Marys all day and being a Saturday drunk. So I don't know. We'll try and figure that out probably sometime late in April. Just sometime after tax time, probably. So thank you, Ty Alexander, for putting something on the board. I appreciate you, brother. All right, Lord's favorite kind of beef, the prime, like a prime rib roast. Love it. Lord Stanhope, are cults immune to criticism? No. What? Maybe from within, but not in general. Avocados Diabli, if the middle class do so well and it trickles down to the poor, isn't that just trickle-down economics just from a slightly lower point? Yeah, that's what Joe Biden was talking about in the speech. He said something to the effect, trickle-down economics don't work, from the very rich to the middle class. But then right in the next same line, he said, then if the middle class rises, the poor rise. Yeah, that is just another form of trickle-down economics. Avocados Diabli, why did I not have a million silly questions this morning? Do you think I need to see a specialist because of it? No. It'll all come back to you. It's all you just need some rest and drink more fluids. Avocados Diabli, if Trump failed to fulfill his duty to care over the pandemic, what was Joe doing in the 2 years he continued those policies? He was being extra loving and gentle. That's what he was doing. But Trump didn't care, but Joe was gentle and loving. Or something like that. Lord Stanhope, what would have to happen to Joe Biden for you to have pity on him? What do you mean? What do you mean? What would have to happen? I pity the fool already. He's been over his head and he's got the puppets going, and Jill Biden's not doing her job as her wifely duties because they should never be in this position. I pity the man already. So sorry, I do. Lord Stanhope, who do you think has fewer eggs, The View or the MSNBC lineup? Oh my God. Well, clearly The View. I mean, at least the MSNBC lineup, are well below my age, and everyone on The View except for maybe, Sunny's 58, 59, so she's probably gone through menopause. No, there's like only one on The View that might even have eggs left. And if they're prouder at that. Okay. Lord Stanhope, what's your favorite cut of pork? Ooh, St. Louis style ribs. I love the St. Louis style, not the spare ribs, not the baby backs, but the spare ribs are my favorite. Let's see. Lord Stanhope, which is better, catsup or hot sauce? I have no idea what catsup is. So definitely hot sauce. I'm just kidding. I know it's just another way to say ketchup, but catsup is actually, there is a difference between catsup and ketchup, and I can't remember what it was. Might be the amount of sugar that's in it. Lord Stanhope, isn't this all so tiresome? If you're constantly talking about political shit, yeah, I need to get away from it again. Talk about more interesting stuff like, I was going to say trannies, but I can't do that because I don't work on cars that often. Avocados Diabli, I am surprised no one brought up the point in his speech when he offered to fly people to Moscow to buy cheap drugs on Air Force One. I know. No one's talking about that. Here, let's check this real quick. I'm going to go, just put Moscow in the search. Moscow. Hashtag Moscow is in the search. Here, let's go hashtag Moscow. Hashtag Moscow. Biden jokes about leaving the State of the Union, calls Lake and Riley Lincoln, promises a flight to Moscow, then gets confused during the exit. Oh, I didn't see his exit because I did not see him exit. Hang on. Let's put this on the screen real quick. I got to go. I'm late. Oh, this is 4 minutes of video. I'm not showing that. Fuck that. Anyway, let's see. Happy Women's Day to all the beautiful ladies all over the world from Russia, from President Putin and me. Okay, what? Yeah, most of the Moscow hashtags already have nothing to do with Joe Biden. Let's go Biden and Moscow. Biden, Moscow. Okay, let's go on this hashtag. Yeah, Washington Examiner. See it, Biden loses his train of thought during a State of the Union address. Here it is. Here's what he said. Here's the actual words that came out of his mouth.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, and even Moscow probably.
Look at it. Oh,
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but
hang on. I want you to look at her face at first when he says it, and then she realizes immediately that she made a face. Watch. Hang on. I'll make it so you can see the whole thing. Here we go. Watch Kamala Harris's face.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, and even Moscow probably. I'm going to get in trouble for.
No, I thought she made a face. She didn't. That was just her face. Anyway, yeah, there's people talking about it. It's a lot of people have it on here. Oh wait, Salon. Rachel Maddow explains origins of how McConnell earned his Moscow Mitch moniker. Well, of course, that's going to pop up. Anyway, Glenn Greenwald's talking about that. All right, back to questions. Lord Stanhope, was Kamala ever pretty? Yeah, I think she was. She's not ugly. She's not an ugly woman. She's just dumb. I think she's attractive. And I'm sure she was more attractive when she was younger. I don't know. I mean, she's fairly attractive now. It has nothing about whether she was good looking or not. Lord Stanhope, if you're framing a wall, how far should the studs be apart? 16 inches. Lord Stanhope, would RFK Jr. be more effective candidate if he used a cancer kazoo? Sorry, don't know the real name of the device, robot voice. Look, I know what you're talking about. No, I don't think so. It'd be even worse. Avocado Stabby, is this the last question? Nope. GDSOB, I've nothing witty or funny to ask Marty. I'm just asking of those that pray, please keep me in their prayers as they're needed in a very large way. Thanks, Marty, et al. Hey, yeah, okay. I don't know what for, and I'm not going to get personal, but definitely keep GDSOB in your prayers, please. Avocados Diabli, why do they always say you cannot get blood from a stone? Have they never seen what you can do when properly motivated? Huh. You're right. Avocados Diabli, remoulade or tartar sauce on fish? I'm just a little bit of lemon personally, but I think tartar sauce. And then finally, Avocados Diabli, is it fair that I ask last question and then ask more questions? Oh, of course it's fair, sir. You are, I'm never going to complain about your questions. I may scoff, laugh, cry, ridicule, but I'll never complain. Okay, thank you. That's it for a Q&A today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Morning Night Live for this week. I'll be back on Monday because I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I didn't realize they spelled Friday wrong on the Q&A thing. Well, we're going to get rid of that. Jesus. End Q&A. It's over. I'll be back Monday. Please, if you haven't done so, hit the like button, share the stream, do all that stuff that every other YouTuber asks you to do, and sponsor the show at P-Dog Night Live. Today's sponsor of the day is Mr. Tyre Alexander. Y'all have a wonderful week. I'm dropping the links in the chat. Gotta go. My name's P-Dog Night, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.